Hello, World Wide Web. My name is Dallas May, and today we are going to review a movie. I did comment on this movie in a YouTube video a while back. Well, it's because the ending and it's kind of sucked and was fucked up. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna need a face mask for this. 1 second. Anyway, this is Tusk. Tusk. For those who don't know who this movie is, and you don't want to see anything fucked up, then move along to another video. Because in this movie, it's kind of fucked up. If you've seen the movie Human Centipede, think of it as that, just not as many people. Anyway, we cut to a kid doing some sort of katana moves when he accidentally cuts his leg off. Oops. Well, that's what happens when you don't be careful with sharp objects. But we cut to two podcasters. Teddy, I forgot the guy's real name, but they call him Teddy in this movie. And Wallace, played by Justin Long. Now, I know Justin Long because he's played in a few movies like Jeepers Creepers and Drag Me to Hell. Well, he plays as a podcaster in this movie. And after viewing that this kid's video has more than 30 million hits, I mean, if I had that many views on my videos, I'd be happy as hell. Uh, he tries to go to Canada to interview this kid, just to find out he's attending the kid's funeral to find out that the kid had killed himself. Later in the night, Justin, or should we say Wallace, goes to a bar in Canada. And that's where he is after the funeral. And he goes to use the bathroom and finds an ad from a man named Howard Howe who offers to share stories with not Justin, but people in exchange for doing some household chores and such. This intrigues Wallace to go to the man's house, and once he does, the movie music tone kind of gives it a uneasy but more action-packed kind of feel to it, but it's to build up suspense. Anyway, Wallace enters Howard's house, and after taking a leak and whatnot, Wallace explores the man's living room as Howard talks through to him about his lifelong old days on the sea of when he met uh, Ernest Hemingway and how they were, I guess, in World War II together, but not much detail has gone into that. Howard soon tells Wallace that a walrus saved his life, and after talking about the bone in a walrus dick that is the size of a freaking arm, damn, if people had bones in their dicks like that, people would be hung like a horse. Anyway, after Wallace is drugged, yeah, horror movie tip number uno, you never drink anything that the potential serial killer may have to offer. That includes food and water. In this case, tea, and Wallace gets knocked unconscious. Soon later, he wakes up to find one of his fucking legs has been cut off. And Howard explains to Wallace that doctor had to remove it because a brown recluse bit him and his leg swelled up to the size of an elephant's foot. I don't know. I never been bit by a spider, so I don't know if a leg could swell up to that size. If it can, then that just makes me terrified of spiders even more. But anyway, once the doctor tells Wallace of the situation, Wallace soon finds out at dinner that there was never any spider, was there? And Howard soon knocks out Wallace and puts him in another room to where he finds his phone and tries to call his girlfriend and his best friend, which I don't know why he doesn't try calling the police first. I mean, me, personally, if I was in his position, I would have tried hopping around on that one other leg he had. He has two. He only had one missing. So he could have probably hopped around on that one leg. Just saying. I mean, I have hopped around on one leg before. I have both legs. I just wanted to see if it was physically possible to keep my balance. So it is possible to hop around on one leg. So no excuse why he couldn't have tried that. I mean, he did have a belt like tied him to a chair, but couldn't he then just took that belt off and tried hopping around? I mean, I know he was under medication and all, but he could have tried at least. Anyway, Howard explains to us what his plans are, and that is constructing a very realistic walrus suit. Yeah, no. No. But yes. Once Wallace contacts his friend and his girlfriend to tell him the situation, that Howard knocks his ass out. By morning, they get the messages and realize that Wallace is in trouble. So they head out to Canada to try and find him and possibly contact the police. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Howard Howe is performing the operation on Wallace, sewing his arms together and removing his other leg. I feel sorry for him, but overall he was a bit of a jackass. So you can sort of feel a little sorry for him because he's going under all this horrible torture. But at the other side, you think, he's a complete jackass and a bit of an asshole. So he kind of deserves to get the shite scared out of him, but not tortured. That's just a little overboard. I say, in my opinion, he deserves to have the shit scared out of him. Not to be surgically tortured or surgically mutilated. That's just overboard. But hours later, Howard performs the operation and succeeds. You know, this scene is pretty disturbing on so many levels. I mean, I thought they were just gonna keep it in like a dark, shadowy area for us to barely see and maybe envision it in our minds. But Jesus, Mother of God! That's gotta be one of the most disturbing freaking monsters I've ever seen. I mean, look at him. That's other people's skin and body parts surgically mutilated to him. God. And there are a lot of questions floating around for him. Like, how does he even go to the bathroom? That, my friends, is a question I don't think anybody wants the answer to. I like how they expect him to eat that fish. You know, if it's supposed to be a suit, couldn't Wallace just break out of it? I mean, it's a suit. A walrus suit. I mean, theoretically, couldn't you just break out of the suit? But in the midst of that, after hours of walrus activities that Howard has Wallace perform, uh, Teddy and Allie manage to go to Canada, talk to a detective, and another detective named Guy LaPuente, who describes to them how much of a sadistic, twisted creep Howard Howe actually is by talking about how Howard Howe removes limbs, cuts out the tongues, and there's a hole in their mouth area, I don't know if it's like in this area or in there, but why would there be a hole in their mouth? I mean, I know he's taken the leg bones, the femurs, or whatever you want to call these bones, and using them as the tusks on his walrus outfits. Literally, no joke. From the victims Howard has in this movie, where he's amputated their legs, the bones in the legs is what he's using as the tusks. Now that's just even more sadistic. But afterwards, after hours of tracking down where this Howard Howe is, Teddy and Allie decide to arm themselves, or not. I mean, Teddy doesn't want a gun. Guy LaPuente says, "What kind of American are you?" Frankly, Teddy is an American that doesn't believe in violence. Well, in my opinion, if I'm rushing in to save my best friend, I'm going in packing heat. Like, I'm even going in wearing a fucking bulletproof vest if I got one. And that's exactly what I have on. Yeah, in case you wanted to see the bulletproof vest, it's actually got a chest and breastplate in it. It's actually got two small ones in it. And it could actually stop probably 45, maybe a 357. But a 44, going straight through it. A 357, I could see a few broken ribs. A 45, some bruising. A 9mm, slight bruising. 22, it'd feel like a punch. Well, not a punch to the gut. Maybe more like a... Well, yeah, maybe a punch to the gut. But I'd probably be alright. From a 22, definitely. But anything else higher than a 357, going straight through it. Because it's not designed for heavy, heavy, heavy caliber. Like 44, 500 Magnum, which bullets are almost as thick as my thumb. Yeah, I don't see a bullet that big being stopped by this vest. Maybe a 45 or a 9mm, yeah, I could see that, but 44s to 500 Magnum, no. No, 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 no. But anyway, back to Tusk. After they rush in to find out how sick and sadistic Howard is by finding his torture room and bits of Wallace, they soon find the room where Wallace, or the walrus, Mr. Tusk, is being held. And, well, let's just say there was a fight between Wallace and Howard, and Wallace sort of won. But they soon find Wallace in his mutilated walrus form, and for some reason, Guy points a shotgun at him, doesn't even pull the trigger. I mean, you'd be doing him a favor at that point. I mean, after days of suffering inside that walrus suit, I'm pretty sure you shooting him in the head would have been a blessing to him. But for some reason, he doesn't kill him, and a year later, now this is the ending that made me raise a bunch of questions. Okay? Get ready for this. They put him in an animal sanctuary. An animal sanctuary. Okay, I may not be the smartest tool in the shed, or the handsomest, but they're just making him suffer at that point. If you had a friend that was surgically mutilated into a walrus-human hybrid and was suffering for days, would you A, find a surgeon, or the best surgeons and doctors in the world, to try and fix him and get him therapy, or put him out of his misery? Apparently, neither of those options came to their minds. I mean, why put him in an animal sanctuary? No animal sanctuary in the world would take him like this, okay? And no freaking way in hell is that the right thing to do. I mean, he's suffering. Finding him the best surgeons, I can't talk today, surgeons or doctors in the world that try and fix him would have probably been a good option, but it probably would have left him pretty scarred up for life. But in the other side, they could have put him out of his misery with lethal injection or a straight bullet to the head. I mean, at least you know he wouldn't have been suffering. I mean, those two options were probably the best they could have gone with. Put him out of his misery so he wouldn't suffer anymore, or try to fix him. Try to find a doctor or surgeon out there that can fix him, and try to get him turned back into at least half normal human body. I mean, he wouldn't be able to walk or talk anymore, but he could use sign language or write down on paper and stuff. But anyway, Allie and Teddy leave Wallace in the animal sanctuary, and Wallace has a flashback of him not having to cry because he watched Winnie the Pooh with his girlfriend. And he sheds a tear, showing that there's still somewhat humanity left in him, and he finally accepts his normal walrus human self. I don't know. And it cuts to the end credits. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need this later. So that was Tusk. Was it worth it? I could probably see that. Was it fucked up? On so many levels. I know Wallace was a bit of a dick and an asshole at sometimes, but he didn't deserve to be surgically mutilated. That was overboard, man. I mean, I could see him deserving the shit scared out of him, or maybe a punch to the forehead or a kick to the gonads, but to be surgically mutilated into a frickin' walrus, I wouldn't even consider that. But for a somewhat horror film, kinda reminds me of Human Centipede. Anyway, my name is Dallas May. I'm a doomsday prepper, and I'm signing off.